Pet Sematary Bloodlines is the latest film based on the Stephen King novel. So today, let's rank all 4 of the Pet Sematary films from worst to best. Hey everybody, my name is Justin here. I try to watch everything that hits theaters and on streaming services. If you guys are like me, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below and click that bell notification for more up and coming content. Leave your list down below. How would you rank all 4 of the Pet Sematary films from worst to best? Coming in last place is Pet Sematary Bloodlines, the newest film that debuted on Paramount Plus. The made-for-streaming service film felt very lackluster. There was no suspense to this movie, despite some really graphic, violent scenes within this film. The characters aren't that likable. There's no depth given to them. There's no understanding of their connection to the Pet Sematary. Looking at the lore of the burial ground itself was pretty interesting and added a lot to the story. But that was that was about it for this film. That's the only thing I really cared about when it came to this movie. So the characters, the suspense, the story, it just felt pretty thin. And I wanted a lot more to it. I wanted more emotion to the burial ground and how it really affects families. That's something that's pretty strong in some of the other Pet Sematary films, but it just was non-existent within this film. So just a really generic style to it. There's no flavor with Bloodlines. It's just kind of your average horror film. Not much to it that's really exciting and a pretty dull watch. Coming in third place is Pet Sematary, the 2019 remake. It's a sleek-looking film. It's a pretty well-directed movie with some decent performances throughout. The problem with this film that separates itself from the original Pet Sematary movie is that there's really not a lot of emotion when it comes to the family losing their daughter. Where in the original movie, it was the young boy Gage, and in the remake, it was their daughter. I think that the problem with this movie is that there's not a lot of time for the family to process the death of their child. And that's what drives the husband, the father, to bury their daughter and have her come back to life. And with that lack of emotion, it makes certain decisions seem pretty thin, and you don't really buy into it all. Despite some good performances and a nice direction and some bloody scenes throughout, it was lacking that punch and the motivation and all the emotion behind it all. It's a decent remake. I don't mind watching it because I've seen it a couple times now, but it's not one that I really was that all impressed by. Coming in second place is Pet Sematary 2. This was a fun film. It's better than the first time I watched it. I remember watching it for the first time and not really that impressed by it all. Watching it again, there's entertainment value to it. It's a lot crazier than the original Pet Sematary film. We have this young boy played by Edward Furlong within the film, and his friend, his dog had died, is in the burial ground. His stepfather had died. He was in the burial ground. There's a lot of just kind of zany moments in here. It feels crazier than the first one. We kind of take away some of that emotion and just have it be more of a bloody, fun time. And they're able to really just focus on the scares. And this film succeeds in having that entertainment value, some fun performances, a lot of more graphic scenes the second time around. And I just enjoy this film overall compared to, like I said, the first time I watched it. I watched it in preparation for the 2019 remake, and I didn't really care much for it. But now, kind of just sitting back and watching the Bloodlines film, this one just understood its purpose of trying to be something fun. It has just kind of some zany moments, some really over-the-top performances. It's not like a film that's trying to be absolutely hilarious, but also understands that it wants to be something more graphic and more focused on the burial grounds and the cemetery and the effects that it has on people that are buried there, which the first film did pretty well also, but this one just focused more on being entertaining. But coming in first place is Pet Sematary. The first Pet Sematary film is really good. I like the overall vibe of the burial grounds and how people have feared it. We have Judd, who is a bit hesitant on introducing the cemetery to the family. And when Gage is there, that's pretty creepy. The young boy just going around and killing people. It's really bizarre, and they really make that end part work. But also there's that emotion for the father as he loses his son, and that drives him to bury his son in the pet cemetery. So you have that motivation, you have that emotion behind it all, and that works. I thought the storyline with the mother and her older sister, as she's remembering things about her older sister, I thought that really doesn't work too much for me, and it didn't work in the remake as well. So if you really just took that out, I think it would have been fine. But overall, Pet Sematary, the first film, has that classic kind of 80s style to it. There's emotion behind it all. The characters are good. There's good performances as well. It gets creepy when Gage comes back to life and he starts terrorizing the family. What the whole film was building up to, and it was a really great payoff. Everything else in the film's really good as well. Understanding the family and the Pet Sematary, kind of adding in some lore to it in nice little moments. It's not solely focused on understanding the history of it all, but understanding its purpose and how it could truly affect you and ruin your life. And sometimes dead is better, and that works so well within this film. I don't think the Pet Sematary franchise is the best horror franchise of all time, but I do think that the first film is a decent Stephen King adaptation. So there you guys have it, all 4 Pet Sematary films ranked worst to best. How would you rank them? Let me know in the comment section down below, and stay tuned for more up and coming content like this. My name is Justin Watches Movies, and you guys stay classy, YouTube.